Thank you, everybody, for joining the 2024 Q4 Engineering Update. Without further ado, Rob Messmer.
Thanks, Lance. John and Matt.
Matt.
Exactly.
John.
Rob.
Q4? Are we serious?
Another year.
We blinked and here we are.
No, it's been an amazing year. I can't believe we're about to head into Thanksgiving and then into the holidays. And man, our partners have really voted with their customers to us, and we appreciate it because we're about to finish the year probably over 130% of our MRR target.
Possibly larger.
There's 2 or 3 really monster deals that are supposedly going to get inked here any day now, which could just kind of send this year into the stratosphere. But seriously, to all of our partners, thank you. This is, we're here to serve you and make you heroes. And you'll see that's kind of what's woven into our DNA. But without you, it's not possible.
It's been the most exciting year yet.
Yeah.
Okay, you and I have been doing this, I think, 7 or 8 years now, something like that. We just came off of kind of 3 of the largest national partner events, and I've never seen a better energy. I mean, the trusted advisor, the agent out there, the partner has never been more important. Business continues to fly in for all of us in the channel. So it's been a great year.
Yeah, and it's in new categories all the time.
Yep.
So we're going to walk you through some of the roadmap here. And, thanks, Matt. And I think it's important, I get asked quite often, what makes you unique CBTS when I deal with you? And it really does start with the mantra we kick off every meeting with. It's about our partners. It's about making them heroes. You're the ones making the recommendation to your customers, taking best of breed providers like CBTS into your most trusted relationships, and it's our duty to perform well for you, even if we're not the one that gets selected.
It's our job to say when we're not the right fit, even.
Yep. That's right. I think one of the things that I've been complimented on a lot this year is that we overinvested in sales engineering, and our partners really appreciate that. They've said, hey, when I get a meeting with my customer and I bring Matt or John or someone from your guys' teams, they know that they're not just getting a salesperson. They're getting somebody that can go deep into the account, impress the customer, build trust with the customer. And from some of our competitors, they just haven't invested in that sales engineering approach. And I think that's paid dividends for us. And I'm really proud of the work you guys have done.
It's no question it's helped us win big deals. And it's also about bringing people behind us, the tier 3 and 4 engineers who are building a lot of these solutions, bringing them even these pre-sales calls to help design it, talk about our capabilities, again, figure out if we're the right fit. And so, we're known for bringing technology to these opportunities.
And I think that really, at the speed in the process, right? You can get fatigue. I want to find the right partner, but I don't want to have 3 meetings, 4 meetings, 5 meetings.
Let's get them in soon.
Times 3 different, right? And so we can make our partners look like heroes by bringing the right resources to the first call and taking 10 calls, take it down to 1, take it down to 2, and also get that mind share early by being the first one to present the right solution. It makes everybody else then try to chase us. So we really, really are proud of this. Yeah.
And the last one, kind of our culture is, it sounds a little cheesy, but it's what we do. It's live by the golden rule in that we're playing the long game. We're not here for some short term, hey, let's get one quick contract and we're out. We're here for longevity. And what that means is you do the right thing because we're all going to be here together.
Yep.
And I'm really proud that in the longevity of our team and the tenure of our team has been so long and how the reaction from the partners are, we really appreciate that you do what you say you're going to do, and you treat me like I would want to be treated.
Yep, so, absolutely.
So that's kind of our culture, what makes us different.
Let's get into 2025. Where are we headed?
Yeah, where are we headed?
Well, growth is, when you knock the ball out of the park on MRR, growth is coming. So when we do financial planning, we're basically saying, yep, our bet is to double over the next 3 years. And that's kind of built on already what has been sold and what is in the funnel already. And that's really from 3 different groups of services that you see. One is MSP and MSSP. We continue to get brought into opportunities around those. You'll see that Palo is fueling a lot of that. So John and Matt will talk a lot about the roadmap around Palo and how that's helping our security managed services practice. But we're also seeing, Matt, we were talking about this before the call, this third bullet, which is professional services. And it's a new motion that we brought into the channel at the beginning of this year, 24.
Yep.
And our partners have really taken to it and said, wow, you can do just the professional services to maybe open a door at a customer.
If we can help them get deeper and wider into customer, absolutely.
And sometimes that's the thing that knocks down a new relationship for our customer or for our partners is, hey, let me just do one project for you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. And then that springs open
no
a
question.
whole flood of
John's in the middle of a huge opportunity right now that's going to be way above $100,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, but it came about from I think $80,000 engagement for some network PS.
Yeah, a lot of it, in that case, I call it snowplow, right? It's plowing the road. They want to go and look at this big managed service, to your point, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a month opportunity. But he said, you know what, before I get there, my network has so many issues.
Or my cloud instance has these issues.
Or
my
application.
I've got Microsoft licensing concerns, whatever these things are.
You name it. A lot of the time, those sorts of projects get their mind share, it gets their attention because it can be a real thorn in the side for their end users. And so that's why I call it the snowplow. We come in and we take that off their radar, solve that problem quickly, and allow them to look at those strategic plans, the strategic vision.
Yeah. We'd like to think we're a rather unique provider in the channel that way because we are this very large kind of mixture of a VAR and managed service provider. We have expertise in all sorts of best-of-breed technologies to be able to help bring some of these professional services.
Well, and you mentioned cloud, which is the last bullet on this slide. Two of our largest deals into six figures per month were around Azure management, consumption, licensing, and a lot of our partners aren't really sure or weren't aware that CBTS
they still
could
are.
help them.
Right.
And so that's one thing they're going to see a lot more of is education in 25 around the use cases of many customers looking at hey, I need help with consumption because it's gotten very expensive for our clients.
Yeah, I think you're also going to see here some gasoline poured on the fire from the Broadcom acquisition. I know obviously that happened a year ago, I think right about this time, right? November of last year. So a lot of folks were, I got to renew because I don't have time to do something else.
That's a good point.
So they did their renewal. Now it's time to, what do we start moving to so we don't get stuck again on the next time? And so I think a lot of the conversations, whether it's CBTS is our infrastructure as a service. So a lot of people don't know we operate our own private and public and hybrid cloud, or our Azure expertise or our AWS expertise, our ability to...
Our Broadcom and VMware expertise, the ability to move to Nutanix if that fits in the right space.
With Acropolis. They're helping customers around the right place for their workloads to live and the right platform for them to live on. This is far more, I think just a lot of people hit the easy button because of the timeline coming out of the Broadcom acquisition, and now it's time to get to real work. And so I think we're going to see an explosion here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in terms of roadmap for CBTS, it's continued hockey stick growth up and to the right, and you'll see more and more offerings from us around the managed security services front. You're going to see professional services, really hit on, and that's a door opening opportunity for partners. And then lastly, things around the cloud. But, there's also a lot around Palo Alto specifically.
Yep. Some other specific product areas that we wanted to talk about. Yep. Palo for us is just that hockey stick movement, really. Palo has come in and over the last couple of years has really put together the leading set of cloud tools, whether that's their new SD-WAN platforms, whether it's their SSE and SASE platforms, whether it's their XDR platforms, et cetera. And there's really a massive amount of growth that's happening on the Palo side. And I think we're really becoming known in the channel as the number one provider. If you've got a customer that wants to look at Palo solutions, we can deliver. We can deliver that in a mixture of maybe CapEx and OpEx, whatever fits that customer. Of course, we all want to sell managed recurring revenue management. But yeah, we really are becoming the number one provider out there on the Palo side.
I always say, so I hear a lot, Palo isn't channel friendly, or Palo's great,
It hasn't been in the past. Yeah.
Or I hear Palo's great, but it's really complex. My challenge is, if you've said those three things, send us a note. Bring us in. Bring CBTS in. We'll show you how we've partnered with Palo in the channel. We'll show you how we've built a really cost-effective, sometimes even more so than other competitors in that SD-WAN and SASE space, and how we can be your easy button. So if you bring us a deal going, I doubt you can bring Palo into the channel at a cost-competitive rate and be an easy button. If we can't do it, Rob Messmer will send you an Uber Eats gift card.
There you go. I like it.
Done.
And what's interesting too is Palo continues to evolve. Even something as simple as an SD-WAN product, right? One of the things we've always wanted in the industry is to be able to take and actually keep track by application, and when they failed over from a circuit to another circuit or a circuit to 4G LTE, that can be alerted on now in the Palo world. These are big things in the retail environment, or even being able to alert on bandwidth utilization. That hasn't been so simple with a lot of other SD-WAN products, and so Palo continues to make investments in these platforms.
For sure.
Yep. Cisco is another area, right? Cisco actually, for several of the events, the national TSD events that we've had recently, Cisco is kind of coming back in the channel and realizing that they've missed an opportunity, really, that there's a lot that can be grown with Cisco in the channel, and we're seeing a lot of kind of new investment on the Cisco side. So talk a little bit about some of the things you've seen on the Cisco side.
Yeah, so one of the things, if you follow CBTS for the last year, we've been talking about the great platform we brought to market with Juniper Mist and AI in the network and all of that. You're going to see a beta at the end of this month that they're rolling out for Meraki, bringing some of those same capabilities. You're going to see CBTS partnering with Cisco around enterprise agreements, what they call an MSEA, ways for us to still consume, but be more flexible. So I think, one, we don't want to ignore this large existing install base. I think
it's there.
We have an opportunity to go upsell existing customers, not say, hey, you've got to rip it out. But more importantly, around video endpoints. So Cisco, did you know today 9% of all Microsoft Teams meetings happen on a Cisco
I did
endpoint?
not know that, actually.
And Microsoft's goal is to be 25% by the end of Q1. And so Cisco and Microsoft are partnering together. It's about $209 million is what Cisco will do this year in video endpoints. So you're going to see, and they work with Google, they work with Zoom, right, as well as Microsoft and Cisco. So I think you're going to see us start to bring some capabilities and expertise into the conversation to complement the rest of our voice stack. WebEx Connect and that platform.
The CPaaS platform.
Where that's going.
WebEx Contact Center. WebEx Contact Center now. Yeah, okay. Because literally, us in the channel, we know that when you went back, let's say 3 years ago, WebEx Contact Center was not a particularly viable product. It had issues. Cisco has spent a massive amount of R&D across the entire WebEx platform, with much of it going on the contact center side now. And it is a heck of a product now. And they continue to add to it. And so we're seeing now, because there still are tens of millions of Cisco collaboration users out there. And there's still, hundreds of thousands of Cisco Contact Center UCCX or UCCE platforms. And that WebEx Contact Center now is a viable, upgrade path for those people to look at.
Absolutely. And I think as well for people who want one vendor, right? WebEx calling is a staple, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's a great voice platform. The CCAS has matured, the CPaaS with Connect. So very excited. I think for a while, Cisco, I don't want to say wasn't listening to the channel.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, you said it. I didn't want to say it. I wanted Matt to say it. But I really think Cisco, from a company, from a go-to-market, and from a tech standpoint, really have heard the channel and probably heard Matt quite a bit. So excited to continue to partner with them and excited to see them evolve in 25.
Yep. So talk a little bit about retail. You guys in particular have been focused on it quite a bit on retail. So share with the group where we're going with kind of retail services.
We are solving problems in retail. And I think we've been screaming from the mountaintop since 2016 that we were solving problems in retail, but we were solving technology problems in retail. And sometimes with network as a service, that could solve operational problems. But as we've really, started to listen, we've got this great retail CIO council. We hear from our customers. We've got a great feedback loop. We weren't solving enough of their problem. They have far more problems operationally. Logistics from, they don't want to order just in time. They want to have depoting. They want to have sparing. They want uniformity, kitting, staging. And so there's a lot that you're going to see a new partnership. I think a press release is coming out imminently And we're going to be partnering at NRF, which we'll talk about here with Retail Tech, RTI, a great partner in the retail space around doing everything that they call front of store. So the technology being the back of the store, everything from cash wraps, handhelds, point of sale, really these things that are solving challenges inside of a retail environment. CBTS is continuing to get wider. We've also identified and named a dedicated product manager for retail here at CBTS. So I think in the past, we took our technology stack and said, hey, there's a benefit to retail here. You're really going to see in 25, under the direction of Rob Mesmer, us really grow up in this space and build retail-centric offerings, retail-centric partnerships, and really understand what it takes. I'll share this anecdote quickly. On our last CIO council, we had a CIO, a retailer, about 3,200 sites globally. And his feedback was, CBTS spends too much time worrying about my customer and my customer experience. You need to focus more on my employee and store experience, because if I have a happier employee, I will have a happier customer. Just a complete mind shift of how we were thinking about it. So it's those sorts of things I think are making us better in retail.
Yeah, and there's real investment behind this retail strategy. So I know we've already talked with a lot of partners about this, John. I know you had some recent conversations. Any partner that has a large retail customer, we'd love to talk to you about
reach
that
out
customer.
to Rob. I was going to say reach out to you because we'd like to go through it. Yep.
And we're going to be at NRF, as John said. And so we'd love to have, if you're out there, meetings with you and or your customers. But just reach out to us, because that's going to be a real area of focus for us next year.
The last thing we want to talk about a little bit here on the product side is that actually our VoIP core, our SIP trunking, continues to be an incredibly important part of our most successful UCaaS and CCaaS deployments. You make a term that, a lot of partners know, Megaport out there, the ability for a Megaport to build these meeting points for any kind of circuit that you want to bring into your data center, bring into, to your IaaS stack. Well, we're very similar that way. We basically, with our VoIP core, we've got customers today where we're delivering Microsoft Teams, we're delivering WebEx calling, we've got a SIP trunk down to their customer premise equipment and a SIP trunk to a third-party contact center like Twilio or Genesys, and being able to deliver a common dial plan for those customers. And that ability for us to come in and help a customer take all those telephone numbers and make sense of it over the next decade with multiple partners is a real big differentiator for us.
It is. And if you think about it, I was just having this conversation. We're about to embark on a great opportunity from the channel brought to us. It's about 8,000 handsets we're going to move over, about 200 plus sites in a bit of a retail environment. And we started talking about, step one, we're going to deliver SIP trunking to their prem.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to do a couple of waves of porting these numbers over safely. And nothing changes in their environment. But we now own those voice numbers, right? And so now it's not about trying to schedule what date that site's going to cut over
deal.
And make sure the hardware's there and plugged in. And now the port, now let's hope every number goes well. Now let's try to train the end user. We've really simplified this and gotten it down to a science. We worked with a large hospital, about 30,000 numbers, took some 6 months to port those over safely. And now we're working on the next phase of moving that Avaya from on-prem into a WebEx calling cloud solution. But they had Genesys GCCX. And so we're trunked into Genesys for them. We're trunked into their prem. And now we can start literally in increments of one, moving users over to a hosted UCaaS solution. So really unlocking the roadmap. And I think there's a lot of customers who don't want to take the risk of trying to coordinate so many moving parts. We've simplified that.
Even in that environment you just talked about, we're delivering 911 service to Genesys GCCX users.
Yeah, they're not Ray Baum and Carrie's Law. They don't do E911. And then we also, for them, are doing 4 and 5 digit manipulation back from those Genesys GCCX users.
Yeah. Well, so again, out there in the channel, I'd say that when you guys see complex SIP trunking environments or complex UCaaS or CCaaS, it's going to have some kind of complexity in the SIP trunking. We can help. We're experts at that. Part of that as well is the ability of how we deliver our SIP trunking. We now can deliver SIP trunking, of course, over the top. We can deliver SIP trunking with bringing circuits to us, right? The traditional kind of point-to-point or MPLS environments. But we've also now expanded our SIP trunking. It first started when we were doing this with VeloCloud, being able to use VeloCloud to reliably deliver voice across the internet, encrypted, multipath, et cetera. But we now can do this with anybody's SD-WAN. We've built an IaaS structure in front of our voice core that a customer's on a a Versa network or on a Silver Peak network, another VeloCloud network, we can put virtual instances in our core and have their network be part of ours and deliver SIP trunking in that environment.
I think that's wildly unique. I mean, when we started doing this, if a CBTS Velo customer wanted CBTS SIP Velo delivered, that was two different Velo networks.
Yep.
We had a voice Velo network and a data Velo network. And then I won't get into the tech of why and how, but we've come quite a far way. And this, I think, is a real differentiator for organizations who say, I've already made the move to SD-WAN. I was getting legacy SIP trunking drop down to my prem, or I was still on PRIs.
Yep.
Being able to have us just as another node on your SD-WAN network, putting a virtual, just load the OVA, configure it up, and away you go. I think this is a real game changer.
Well, it helps our partners who have already also brought in SD-WAN for a customer and now want to sell SIP, that these two things don't collide. They actually work together.
Yep. One thing I don't think we mentioned at the beginning, did we mention about questions in our giveaway?
Oh,
we forgot
we did not.
Yes.
Gabby was supposed to remind me, and I didn't see her wave her hands. As always, please fill out the form, and you'll be entered to win a $1,000 dinner with us. Bring your customer, bring your employees, bring yourself. And if you ask a question, you'll get entered 5 times for every entry. So those questions
Sorry
are
about
important.
that, Gabby.
Sorry, Gabby.
All right. Let's talk a little bit too, John, you probably do the best job of talking about this, but talk about our kind of Palo investment and the expertise we've built up.
Yeah. So in the interest of time, I'll kind of fly through and keep her a little simple. Nobody's better at Palo than we are. And that's not me talking. That's Palo talking, right? We're the best at it. So 2023 North American Service Provider of the Year. Why we're so proud of that is because Palo can mean a lot of things. It can mean a next-gen firewall. It can mean the SD-WAN, the Ion platform, formerly CloudGenix. It can mean their Cortex EDR platform. It can mean Talon, the enterprise browser. It can mean Cortex XOR, now the new XIM, the AI platform. Why we're so good at it? We eat our own dog food. So we are built out.
We run our entire company on the Palo.
Our entire company runs on the Palo stack. We're now over 90 engineers of certified Palo across the whole stack.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Some are on the front side, some are on the delivery side. I think that breaks down to about, I think it's like 38 on the front and 56 on the back for delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all in. We've made this entire investment into Palo, which is why we're able to get some of that pricing that I was talking about. We're making real investments in hiring people and training people, of rolling this out internally. We're bought in and we believe in it. This is a journey though. Average customers got 70 different tools in their security stack. As we move to platformization, we think there's a real benefit in standardizing that on Palo. That might take 5 years. So we have a lot of customers that maybe they've got Palo firewalls in the data center. We simply add SD-WAN to that. Or we add Palo Prisma Access for remote users. And we build our SOC. We'll still use CrowdStrike and have it point to us. So
I wanted to mention the SOC services. We've got a mature SOC platform now that we are adding onto more and more of our SD-WAN and SASE customers.
It's 42 full-time engineers, which is completely separate from our network operations center. There's dedicated CBTS employees in the SOC. And to your point, Matt, you say the word add-on. Where we see quite a bit of that, we're happy to do nights and weekends. So we have a lot of customers who say, I don't need help. I'm the best at this Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Well, what happens when you go home for the weekend?
We have a Fortune 500 customer that we do after-hour SOC services for.
That's right.
For exactly that reason.
And so when you think security, think Palo. When you think Palo, think CBTS.
Yep, absolutely.
We did have a question come in.
Oh, cool. Go back.
Yes. What size customer is optimal, or who do you gain business with the most?
That's a great question. Thank you. One of the things that's happened for CBTS is that we've kind of evolved and become known in the channel for more complex environments. And that typically translates into an organization's about 500 employees and above. And that doesn't mean we're going to turn away something at 350 or 400. But, when we came in, you remember when we came in the channel, Rob, we'd take 20 seats of UCAS, right?
That's right.
But we've really learned that we fit best in a more complex environment, typically about 500 customers and above. So that's a great question. Thank you.
And typically, if your customer is evaluating Palo, it's probably the right fit.
That's usually the case, right? Yeah, you typically aren't seeing a 50-person firm looking at a Palo solution. Yeah.
John, you had really interesting kind of story about how the average time to process a certain number of threats and understand those and what that now means in the new world. I think that's, kind of the power of Palo.
Yeah. So when we look at our SOC services, so our SOC is built on Palo XIM, right, which is AI, the precision AI platform. The average customer responds to only 7% of the alerts that they get.
Out of a normal SIM. Yep.
7%. And their average response time to that 7% is 4 days. So a lot of noise coming in, a lot of manual research. When we pair our people with our process built on XIM, last month in our SOC, our average response time was under 1 minute. Our response percentage was 100%. So we responded to 100% of the alerts that came in. The average response time was under 1 minute, and the average resolution time was under 15 minutes. And we give an SLA on a P1 of under 60 minutes. So it's a very big deal when you talk about an organization takes 4 days to only respond to 7%, and we take under 15 minutes to respond to 100%. Some of that's the tools of Palo and the precision AI with XIM. Some of that is CBTS and our trained. We do proactive threat hunting as well. We averaged 88 hunts last month. So we partner with the FBI. We partner with other government agencies. When somebody says, here's a vulnerability that we found out in the wild, we go and hunt all of our customers and see if that vulnerability was there in their environment.
That's an incredible
That's one of the things I hear in the channel, even people talking more and more about the mean time to detect and mean time to resolve. It's a big deal. Absolutely. All right, we'll leave you with a couple of thoughts here. One, again, thanks for taking the time out there in the channel. We're excited about next year, and we appreciate you taking the time. A lot of you might have seen this slide here. A lot of times we call it internally our 5 pillars slide. We've kind of added and rearranged a couple of things here. You'll see in the middle this cloud migration and management area. Again, we have been getting some of our biggest opportunities here in 2024 have been about helping customers kind of do that right sizing of workloads, kind of FinOps, application assessments, those kinds of things. We want to get that out in the channel more. People understand that that is an area of expertise and an area that can result in some rather large monthly recurring revenue opportunities.
Yeah, I think the big thing here with FinOps, right? FinOps for the last 3 years was look and see my licenses. Am I subscribed correctly? Am I using too much? FinOps has evolved into optimized design. Do I have the right landing zone design? Do I have the right 80 forest design as opposed to collapsing that? It's more about optimal design, creating optimal spend. Yes, we'll certainly look at licensing as a Microsoft CSP. We had in this year 2 deals for Microsoft licensing through the channel of well over 100,000 a month. I think one was 140, one was 210. So that's very lucrative. There's real business there. But FinOps, to me, it's our engineering, not just us doing an audit of licensing anymore.
Yep.
And without optimization, our customers, before we get there, the customers' bills are just stacking up.
They're spending it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine walking into a customer and saying, hey, would you want to spend $200,000 a month instead of $230,000? Whoa.
Yeah, it's real.
It's very real.
Yep.
Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
Has Palo figured out a way to shape buffer traffic on its Prisma offering like Velo can?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's coming out. So that was one of the things when we first got involved with Palo is that I think it was referring to the fact that Velo Cloud's got gateways up in the cloud, and those gateways you can terminate tunnels from a Velo Cloud edge. You can shape traffic to those edges. They can give you, forward error correction and kind of next path failover in an application, these kinds of things. And that is now coming to the Palo environment as well. So that's being added to the ability of a Palo edge talking to that Prisma gateway, having that same kind of functionality that we did in the Velo world. So it's a big deal. Great question. Let's talk and kind of end up a little bit here with what's happening in 2025. You've already mentioned kind of the NRF event, but that again, NRF stands for what? Because people might not know.
So it's the National Retail Federation. This is their big show. So they kick off every year in New York City in January, and a ton of retailers are there. We're sharing a booth with Retail Tech. So that's our partner. It's helping us do back of office things. We also are going to have a client dinner. So if you've got a great retail prospect, retail customer, sync up with us. We'd love to include you and your customer in our dinner. And then when it's not cold, I assume, Matt, you'll go to the warm places?
I'm going to IT Expo. That's
Weird.
exactly it. So, yes, you're going to come down to IT Expo in February. We'd love to see you. Love to get together, have a glass of wine or whatever. And then, of course, we've got the channel partners coming up.
And then we'll
normal
all
thing.
be there for that.
That's right.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
It takes a village to take credit for Gabby Scott's great work. So
Yeah.
we'll all be there to take credit for what she puts on
Exactly.
in Vegas for us.
Well, as usual, thank you guys, the partners out there, for joining. Thanks, John. Thanks, Rob. It's always great to get up here and
Yeah, it's great seeing you guys.
pontificate a little bit. So we appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.